There is a legend that a beautiful fairy, the Snow Queen, lived on the highest peaks of the Alps. The mountain folk and shepherds climbed to these summits to admire her, and everyone fell head over heels in love. Any man would have given anything to marry her, for fate had decided that no mortal would ever marry the Snow Queen. But in spite of that, many brave souls did their best to approach her. Each suitor was allowed to enter the great ice palace where the queen's throne stood, but in the second, he declared his love and asked for her hand. Thousands of goblins appeared to push him over the rocks down into bottomless abysses. The queen would watch the scene, her heart of ice unable to feel anything at all. The legend of the Crystal Palace and the heartless queen spread as far as the most distant alpine valley, the home of a fearless chamois hunter. Fascinated by the tale, he decided to set out and try his luck. He journeyed for days, climbing the mountain faces covered in snow, topping icebound peaks, and resisting the bitterly cold wind that swept through the alpine valleys. More than once, he felt all was lost, but the thought of the lovely Snow Queen gave him new strength and kept him moving onwards. At last, after many days climbing, he saw the transparent spires of the ice palace polished in the sunshine before him. Summoning all his courage, the young man entered the throne room. But he was so struck by the Snow Queen's beauty that he could not utter a word. Shy and timid, he did not dare speak. So He knelt in admiration before the queen, without saying a word. The queen looked at him silently, wondering why he did not ask for her hand in marriage. There was no need to call the goblins. Then, to her great surprise, she discovered that his behavior touched her heart. She realized she was becoming quite fond of this hunter, much younger and more handsome than the others. Time passed, and the Snow Queen dared not admit, not even to herself, that she would like to marry the young man. In the meantime, the goblin kept watch over the queen. First, they were astonished. Then they became more and more upset, for they feared that their queen might be at the point of breaking the law and bringing down on the heads of all the mountain people. Seeing that the queen was slowish to get rid of her suitor, the goblins decided to take matters into their own hands. One night, as dusk fell, they threw him into the abyss. The Snow Queen watched the whole scene from the window, but there was nothing she could do to stop them. A tear dropped from her eye, the first she had ever shed. And the Snow Queen's tear fell onto a stone, where it turned into a first Aeolus, the flower that grows only on the highest, most inaccessible peaks in the Alps. The